Welcome to the podcast that questions everything, from conspiracies to philosophy, from science to religion. We will be looking at the construct of the illusion, and as always, we will question everything. Hello and welcome to Everything's an Illusion, a podcast where we podcast everything, where we question everything. I'm your host Rob Wallace. I'm again joined with the bearded master of sci-fi, Mr. Greg Andrew. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing okay. I'm finally returned after another absence because the check never cleared. But your check cleared this time, sir, so I'm here, ready to go. Let's do this.
I like it. I like that positivity, that energy
Yep.
that's coming off you.
Let's bring it up.
So this week we're chatting about we'll go for the Temple of Set. Then we're going to look at American politics. Imagine Trump as president, ex machina and AI. Then unplugging from the grid, and then finally everything you know is wrong. So let's just jump straight in and the Temple of Set. Now, the Temple of Set, I've been reading quite a bit about the Temple of Set of late, Greg. It's an offshoot of the Church of Satan, and essentially it is the Church of Satan. Became an Anton LaVey he was like a con man. He was like the main man. It was all about him, and it wasn't about the great mystery that is Satan. So the Temple of Set was started, and the guy's name will come to me, but he was an ex-colonel or an ex-military guy. He wrote a couple of books on the mind and social engineering, and Set is a sort of an ancient Egyptian kind of cat, but the whole premise kind of came from, if I'm getting this right, magical ritual. So if I'm a Christian and I have a car crash, I see big Jesus, and if I'm a Hindu, I see big Krishna. If I'm a Buddha, I see big Buddha, and a Muslim, I see big Muhammad.
Although you wouldn't know what it looks like.
But I wouldn't know what it looked like. But I would kind of guess, you know.
His name tag would get away.
That's it, exactly. Aye. So you would get it. That's Muhammad. So what they're saying is, right, so we know that this happens, but it only happens for set people. For some people, if you like, the magical quality or their ability to imagine is greater than other people. Just like some people are better at mathematics, some people are better runners, some people are better whatever. So some people have more magical quality or the ability to create, visualise and think in their mind, and make a part of their mind communicate with their conscious part of their mind, and then believe that is Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or an angel or a demon or whatever.
Yeah.
So these guys basically said, so this shit's real, so it's obviously a ritual. You know, the result is the result that you get when you do the ritual looking for that result, i.e. I'm a Christian, I pray to Jesus, and after a year of praying to Jesus now communicates with me. I feel him in my heart, I believe that he's there, I experience him. That's the magical quality within you creating this part of your mind, which then communicates with you to make you, because you've done a ritual for a year. So they're trying to break this down like a science and try to qualify and quantify these parts of the mind to make the universe malleable, if you like, to them.
Yeah.
And that's what the church or the Temple of Set is, if you like, trying to, or something like that, trying to understand the universe through trying to break down the way magical qualities, you know, looking at all the different rituals and for all different, like Celtic magic to satanic magic to, but it's all about like they're outside the God, whatever God is, they're outside it because they can observe it, they can think about it. If they were God or a part of God, they wouldn't be able to contemplate themselves. So that they believe they're outside it, and therefore they're either of equal part or they can manipulate it. So they can use magic, the left-hand path, to manipulate the sort of godlike power, and therefore make themselves a god or comparable to God. And I just found that really fascinating. Like, again, obviously, when you hear the Church of Satan, you automatically think of it within a Christian context, but this is not within any kind of context of any religion. They're almost looking at the underlying blueprint of how the human imagines religion, how it brings it into reality in the first place, and then trying to replicate that as a formula and use it to create positivity or to create whatever you want in your life.
Yeah.
Sound interesting?
Sounds cool. I believe it's Michael Aquino. Is that the guy that started?
That's the cat.
That's the guy. So
he wrote a book called Mind Star and Mind something else, and it's all about magic. And if you go into the Temple of Set website, they have a podcast, and you can listen to like lectures about things. Quite interesting. So that's the Temple.
So
of
I think
Set.
so. They take a lot of their kind of cues from looking at the works of like Aleister Crowley and stuff like that. The kind of old school black magic guys.
Definitely black magic in the left-hand path, because they believe that it's under your will. You choose. You're the creator. You make the shit happen. It's not a case of like shit happens to you, or you pray and you may get this result. They try to force the hand. They're in charge.
Yeah.
The right hand path is more wishy-washy. The left hand path seems to be, I'm going to make it happen.
Interesting stuff.
If they were to say summon a demon or create a demon in their mind, they would then attempt to control it as opposed to be scared about it.
Yeah.
Because they realise that it could be a part of them, or it's there because they've summoned it through ritual. But I definitely think there's more to this world than a case of I'm a Christian, the Muslims, the Jews, the Buddhists and all that, their gods are all false, but mine is real. Or the Hindus saying my gods are real, the Christians and the Muslims and the Buddhists and the Taoists, they're all wrong, mine's is right.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is so many people believing something, what is the underlying thing which makes their minds magical? Because for me, I don't have that magical quality, I don't think. Because God's never spoke to me. But I'm always looking for it.
Yeah.
So I think some folk are more magical in the fact that they can summon whatever it is, create it in the ether, and either within their mind or external to them, it communicates with them.
It's one way of looking at it, dude.
Aye. Well, everything's an illusion, it's about trying to make people think, it's just another way to
I mean, obviously,
perceive.
And obviously they're using a lot of stuff from like Egyptian times and the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and using a lot of these kind of philosophical books and ideas through their church. And I'll definitely check out the podcast if you put a wee link on the show notes.
That's it.
That'd be great.
Right, so we'll go from the Church of Satan, or the Church of Set, Temple of Set, to American politics. What you thinking about this week leading up?
It's all been kicking off, is it not? It's been as outsiders to the American democratic inverted commas process, it's been an interesting week. I still don't fully understand how it all works, which is a bit of a pain, but they're doing their primaries, the candidates for each party, which first of all seems a bit weird because there only seems to be two parties.
Aye,
But can you run as an independent? You don't have to be part of the Republicans or the Democrats to be in the presidential ballot. Is that? I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. Do you know that off the top of your head? American listeners, could you maybe help us out?
I don't. I've not really a clue about the American
Yeah.
system. It's quite. It seems to be quite.
So it seems like they're focusing on the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and they are their main runners. So on the Republicans, we have Donald Trump and is it Ted Cruz? I think's the two kind of main guys there. And then for the Democrats, it does seem to be down to Hillary and Bernie. So one of them is going to be picked for one of those parties, and then they two are going to fight it out. It doesn't really seem to leave much scope for any sort of other ideological party theme. You know what I mean? Which is strange looking at it for us, because we also this year have elections for the Scottish Parliament, and on our ballot paper we will have SNP, Tory, Labour, SSSP, Solidarity, the Conservatives, the Monster Raven Looning Party, the Liberal Democrats. You can see I put them below the Monster Raven Looning Party these days. The Rise group that's just starting their kind of their new campaigns and their life as a political entity. So I mean that's going to be a big ballot, and then we'll choose. And then even when it comes to choosing your party or your senator, looking at the way the House is set up in the House of Representatives, there is independence there, but the rest is all made up of these two political parties of the Republicans and the Democrats. That's how I see it. Whereas we maybe get the odd Green party member and stuff like that. And throughout the rest of Europe, it does seem to be the case that there's more than two parties. So, so for an outsider's point of view, it does seem very simplistic.
No,
within that simplistic, it's very complicated how they come up.
There's definitely more than two parties, but the question is, I think you can only win if you're one of the main. It's a two-horse race.
Yeah.
But there's definitely more than two parties. Like the John McAfee, he was running as a liberal, libertarian candidate for president. So
I don't know how much it costs you to get onto the ballot to be president. I'm sure it would have to
$1.
Some sort of fee. Is that true?
No.
But I mean, 50 again. Looking at it, I was online looking at some. There was a thing about oil in Scotland online. I was reading through it, and somebody had brought up obviously Scotland trying to go independent, but look at America. How they're able to? They've got like 50 Scotlands, if you know what I mean. All these states, like New York's got 9 million people in it, so that's almost double the size of Scotland, but it's part of America and it's part of the state. How are they capable of keeping all that in order? To be honest, I don't really know. But it must come down to federal level and smaller increments of being the United States.
Yep.
But within that, it seems such a vast amount of politicising and doing. You see them going from state to state, doing these Democratic and Republican conferences where the Fox News and CNN hold them and show them for 2 hours the debates. I mean, that can't be cheap, even if you were to do that yourself by going in car. The sheer amount of time and petrol that would, like, you have to have the backing of money to be part of that process. You could probably be an independent in your state, in your local council, and work your way up to but the second you get to be an independent at state level, that's as high as you can go, because you would never have the backing of 50 states as an independent, I don't think.
Oh no, what it comes down to, and I think what you're saying is, to be the president in the United States of America, you need a shed load of cash, and that's why folk like Hillary Clinton is backed by the corporate overlords. Bernie Sanders is backed by the people at $17 a pop, and Donald Trump is backed by himself.
Even Donald Trump's not backed by himself. Donald Trump's backed by his company. You know what I mean? It's not even him. It's like he's loaning the money for his own company. It's that kind of convoluted, the way I understand it. But then again, it comes to the idea that in Britain, we're obviously a much smaller country compared to America, and we have this system with the Prime Minister, who's in charge of the biggest party in Parliament, is the head of this party, so that makes him the head of the country, so he becomes the most important political figure we've got. But the flip side of that, because of tradition and all that pish, we still have the Queen as a figurehead. Now, the president, the way I understand it, I might be completely wrong, is he's like they two things combined, if you know what I mean. Like, if David Cameron lost the next election, he could still be an MP, he could still run the Conservative Party, he could still be a backbencher.
Aye.
But once you've been president, you just kind of hang up your horse, if you know what I mean. You kind of hang up your hat and say, I'm done with this. That's the highest you can do. You don't go back to being in politics. You don't go back to being a senator.
Well, you started speaking tours.
So you become like you're like the Queen and the Prime Minister rolled into one. So you have some political power as president. As you can see, if you've got the House, you can put in judges and all that sort of stuff and pass all these acts. But you have to go around the world and do all that stuff. So that takes away some of your power, and you become this kind of figurehead. It's a very interesting setup they've got over there. But on the outlook of it, it appears to be democratic. But then when you kind of look at it a wee bit closer, does it represent everybody's needs? And does it represent everybody's views? I don't know.
Well, there's a podcast, a guy called Dan Carling, and he does a podcast called Common Sense. And the last, 3 or 4 episodes has been all about American politics, explaining the primaries, explaining what's happening, but looking at it from a kind of historical point of view as well, and a common sense kind of point of view, and put it in context about what's happening. And it's quite interesting. So definitely I would go and kind of listen to it again, because I think it is kind of the way it's set up, the way it's changed. It's not about it's not about Americans. It's not about, again, like, if you've been watching it, I've watched most of the debates, like the full 2 hours. Again, watched them back on YouTube, and like, just say when they pass something through Congress, the bill will be it'll be a combination of, say, 15 things. But obviously some of the things you don't agree with, but the majority of the thing is the thing you've been working to get past. So you accept the shit that comes with the glory. And when Hillary Clinton, for example, she uses, but Bernie voted for the wall, and Bernie has to say, well, I did, but I voted for this bill, and that wall was a wee teeny part of it.
Yeah, it was attached to it.
Aye, and I had to, and you're pulling like one needle out of haystack, and it was something that I did not agree with. It's something that I said no to, but I had to, for the rest of it to go through.
Yeah. About
the important things, and the things that I was campaigning for. So that they're so, it's a game of media, a game of spin. And Hillary Clinton, honestly, I just look at her and I think you cannot be trusted in any way, shape or form. But she's going to beat Bernie, and I think the main reason why she's going to beat Bernie is because Bernie's from the Social Democrats, he is not a Democrat. He's not from the Democratic Party. So it's a two-horse race, Republicans versus Democrats. He isn't from that party. He's running under that party because it is a two-horse race. But that's what the super delegates are about. The super delegates are folk who say, I've basically worked for this fucking party. I've been a Democrat all my days. You as a social democrat are not coming into my party and fucking taking it over. You have different ideas and thoughts from us. Therefore, we're going to block you. And that's their whole job, is to can basically protect the two-party system.
Yeah.
Protect their party.
Well, that's as much as, Hillary does have a vagina and breasts, which makes her a woman, which I think will win her some votes. And I think
makes her a woman,
but I think, so people are kind of like, oh, we've just had the first black president. This is a chance to have a Democrat who is obviously centre-right, will we say, possibly, with her views.
Far-right.
Well, then you have to it depends where you're putting bits of pins on lines, because if you look at Donald and with his fucking politics, Ted Cruz,
the same as her. They're both the same.
Well, she's purporting the illusion that the Democratic Party, which historically has been centre into centre-right, that she's part of that.
Corporate overlord, every single
That's
person.
what I'm trying to say here, dude. But as a woman, she has got the idea that she could be the first woman president. I mean, if you think of the illusion of choice, is it something like, say, 1,500 newspapers countrywide, 1,000 magazines, 9,000 radio stations. There's 1,500 throughout the entire country, TV stations, that are controlled by 2,400 publishers. These are owned by 6 corporations. They own all that stuff. 272 executives at these 6 corporations are in charge of all of that media content that goes into the homes of every American. I mean, how is that trying to say that this is a free and open choice, that the media isn't biased? I think they're quite biased towards Hillary. The great thing that Bernie Sanders is able to do is, when he speaks and tells the truth and puts forward his ideas, can he spin that any other way? The man talks sense. He's no lying when he's saying the bankers should be in jail. He's no lying when they say the housing crisis was caused by corrupt people in Wall Street. You know what I mean?
He isn't lying, but I think...
So they can,
Well, they can, because you've got to remember, most people are not watching the 2-hour debate.
Exactly.
Most people are watching a edited cut version. Now that cut version will show the crowd asking a question, and it will show for that question Hillary's positive answer, and maybe on that question Bernie stumbling, or a different cut, or just the beginning of his answer rebutting what she had, and then they'll cut to another question which is again favourable for Hillary, and then that'll be the 2 or 3 minute segment up.
Yeah, and going back to kind of the way they structure these elections, these primaries are only so that members of the parties can pick their representative for president. Is that right?
Yep.
So it's like no every American is part of either the Republican or Democratic Party. It's like me, I'm not aligned to any political party apart from my own, the Apathy Party, but once again at this election we are unable to stand because we can't be asked. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? So we don't pay any dues towards any political party. We don't go to any conferences or anything like that. We could go to conferences if you wanted, but I don't know about you. Do you remember any political party?
I am not, no.
So I mean, but even after they choose Hillary and they choose Ted Cruz, I'm just going to use him as the example for the Republican, but then every American gets to vote on that. I think that's how it works as well. So even if you're not a member of these parties, you're still only getting left with these two choices because these are the only people you're seeing. These are the only debates you're seeing. You're not getting to see the independent person who's standing talking at town halls or going to meetings because that's what the media portrays. These are the two choices, which I don't know if that's true in the ballot. I don't know how the ballot works. It's a very, very large country, and it just seems to try to be simplified down. So will we move on to the main man then?
Well, so in a
The fact that I say that
possible
alone,
future, in a possible future,
yeah,
there could be Donald Trump as the President of the United States of America. So, what's your thoughts on, right, so just let's move to 2020
yeah.
or 2019, Trump as the President. What do you envision, first of all, the rest of the world looking at America? How do we perceive America now that we have Trump? And is America great again?
Well, if you listen to him, he tells you that a vote for him to become president would make America great. So the answer to that question would be if he's true to his word, then obviously that's what's going to happen. I don't think that will happen. I think it's a very weird thing because again it comes back to the idea of as an outsider, what does the president actually do? Now, I know Barack Obama in his second term, because they do every 2 years, they vote the House of Representatives and the Senate. So the Democrats and split. So if you're a member, and then the House is split, the same way we have a Tory majority government now. At the moment, I think the House is represented more by Republicans. They've got a majority, even though Barack Obama is the president. So if he brought a new law up, they might vote him down every time, if you know what I mean. So if Trump became president, and would he be able to just come in and pass law after law after law that he wanted to do? I don't think he's got the political connections or political manoeuvrability to work within that system. I think as a head of state, as a man who talks himself up in his game, as he makes all these bold and brash promises, that's the sort of president he'd be. But to come in and just say we're going to build walls and we're going to invade this country, these things need to be passed through process. So I think the majority of his pish is ego massaging, blustering balls to a majority of people who
I think
can be persuaded to kind of think, oh, that guy makes sense.
I
Because you
think
see his rallies, you see the people at rallies. I'm sure these people are the hateful, despicable people who hate everybody on the planet, or who are
just black
right
people,
wing.
Muslims,
But
Jews.
that's a very. I mean, I don't think everybody. You can't say every German between 1933 and 1941 were all Nazis, but the fever that took over. I mean, they've done studies into it and how the Nazi state was able to do what it did within that 10-year span. Wasn't it like,
No, totally,
you know what I
totally.
mean? So
But at the same time, like I think like obviously there is a fever, and that fever is like white. Make America white again was one of the banners I seen, and the other one was a Trump advocate doing the phoning and the calls and stuff,
yeah,
and she had the is it the 8-8 A B C D E F G H 8-8 on her hand, and the 8-8 says HH, Hail Hitler. And she had, I think it's called the Celtic Cross.
yeah.
It's a circle with a cross through the middle, which the White Power movement use or appropriated to signify it. The other two tattoos that she had in her hands, and obviously she's calling people up to market for Trump to get their vote vote for Trump. So there's two prime examples of, and obviously it's media spin. Spin goes both ways. But one of the, I think that there'll be a civil war that will start with riots. Again, Mexican, Hispanic, biggest language in the US is Spanish. So there'll be a big, again, where basically anybody who's no whitey will revolt, and there will become a very much a class and race war. Masked as a civil war will erupt in America, and that'll be the downfall of America. And China and Russia, China will take over as the next national power. All from Trump becoming president. China will raise up and become the next. The empire of America will fall with Trump.
There you go, dude.
I think it's it's that drastic, because the rest of them, they keep their corporate overlords in power and check, but the gun toting, the sheer, like almost what Hitler done to the Jews, Muslims. Where does it stop? If you're registering Mexicans, if you're registering Islamic folk, if you're registering, let's make it a Christian nation again, there's nothing Christian about this guy.
Oh fuck, I'm more Christian than him. I'm an atheist.
The thing is, if Jesus was to return, a Middle Eastern man with dark skin and dark hair, he wouldn't get in.
Yeah.
He wouldn't get into Trump's America. You know what I mean? It's fucking, how farcical was that? The fucking chosen one, the saviour, the son of God, would not get into America. He'd be looked at as a fucking terrorist. He speaks fucking Arabic, dark skin. He'd be fucking...
But that's to say that him becoming president means he gets to do whatever he wants. And I think there's a process in place that Obama's greatest legacy, he would have wished would have been some sort of universal health care throughout America. And this Obamacare bill was knocked back, we were talking about amendments earlier, amended, turned round. Every Western kind of developed country has a great degree of socialised medicine. We here have the NHS. I think Canada has a very similar system. And as much as the Conservative government are trying to kill it and privatise it off to become more American, I think for us in Britain that's going to be a big stumbling block in the next 2 or 3 years. But Obama was unable to push that through because of the way the political system. The idea that Trump's just going to come in and say, right, that's me, I'm in charge, right, put the wall up, right, fucking you go and read it. I think he himself is an egomaniac who lives in fucking cloud cuckoo land and will be unable to work the Washington system to his great benefit because he'll piss off that many people in the Republican Party. The majority of the country may push him through, but when it comes to elected representation, people, we have it in this country where we have local MPs who you think, why were you not voting for that at that thing? Why did you abstain? Why did you not make anything to do with that debate? That's not why we voted you in. And they make decisions that go against that. So if the majority of the American people say Trump's the man and they vote him in as president, it will only be 50% or over 50%, of the voting people who voted him in. And then even then he's got to work the Washington DC system. And I don't think the guy's fucking political savvy enough. I think he's a big enough egomaniac to be president of the United States and sit in the White House for 4 years and honestly do fuck all, because he'll be able to come in and go, right, let's build this wall. Let's keep all these Mexicans out. How you going to do that, Donald? I don't know. I just said a lot of shit. Really? Who have you know pissed off in the world? I can agree with you with the idea of the world stage taking a fucking back seat and going, really? This guy? But then again, we voted in David Cameron. Look at him, he's a prick.
Oh no, for sure, that's it. And like our political system is, I suppose I think it's kind of worse, if you like, in the sense of, at least Trump's not got a clue, or he maybe does have a clue, but what he's saying is kind of upfront. I fucking hate these cunts, I hate these cunts, I hate these cunts. Our Prime Minister hates us cunts, but he says he loves us, but actually they don't. So
I mean, I think he's not even, he's portrayed, everything he says is just to get that kind of reaction he gets from his crowds. That kind of, nobody else is going to say it, so I'll say it. Like, he never said he hated Muslims. He just said, I think all Muslims should be not allowed to come into this country. He feels it and he thinks it, but the way he words it, you know what I mean? Unless, to be fair, if we look back through his transcripts, he probably did say at some point he fucking hated Muslims. But he doesn't say that. He says, because let's be honest, America's greatest ally on this planet is probably Saudi Arabia. So the fact that, you know what I mean? So when it comes to him being president, he has to deal with the Saudi government and the Saudi Arabia and how we turn blind eyes to how fucking bad a totalitarian state they are. And they are running oil and all those big IT businesses and the amount of money and dollars they bring into the country. He'll soon change his mind on the Islamic people once he fucking has to coil up to them and kiss the ring, the way George Bush and Jeb Bush have all done. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think it'd be a great thing, to be honest. But then again, Ted Cruz seems to be even worse. He looks like a wee weaselly rat. You know what I mean? So,
but it just shows.
So if it did go down to Hillary and Donald became president, which was the kind of subject we were trying to talk about, my feeling is he would be an inept, lame duck president, as they call him. He wouldn't be able to control the House. So, unless there was some sort of military coup and he became Caesar, shall we say. But then again, you've already heard some generals saying there are rules of engagement, there are rules to warfare, there are rules to international diplomacy. And if Donald thinks the Army, Navy and Air Force are just going to do what he says because he wants to do it, he's mistaken. Already saying almost treasonous things, but for the correct reasons. You know what I mean? That's what the generals are saying so far. That you can't just do what he's saying in the podium. He's talking shite. That's not how the world works. It may be how Donald Trump wants it to work, to go and bomb ISIS. But then again, maybe the first day in the White House office, he gets the folder that says ISIS, top secret, opens up the front page. There's one bit of paper in it that says, we created ISIS.
Or he gets
You know what I mean?
And he gets told by the people who actually run,
Yeah.
you're a fucking minion, a puppet, sit down, shut the fuck up.
Shut up.
Okay, so let's move on to Ex Machina.
Oh. Or I will say Ex Machina, because that's how I roll.
Tomato.
Tomato. So, let's just say, for the sake of our lovely listening people out there, I have seen Ex Machina, saw it the last couple of weeks. Rob, you've seen it?
Hell yeah.
We will discuss certain points within that film. If you have not seen it, spoiler, there will be spoilers coming up. And I know, Rob, you do the timeline on the thing,
Yep,
so
sure
you might just want to skip ahead and catch up with the next segment of this lovely, lovely podcast show. So I think everybody who has not seen it has left, and it was just us and the cool listeners who've already seen it. So let's just talk a wee bit about the film. What did you think about the film, Rob?
I thought the film was really good. I posted up on my Rob Wallace Media Facebook page about the special effects, the VFX, and obviously they won the VFX, and we talked about that in a past
Yep.
podcast. The concept was pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of limited. But it was good,
Yeah.
and I enjoy artificial intelligence as the theme of a film.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I did. I felt it became almost like a kind of horror film near the end. If you know what I
Yep,
mean,
yep.
we kind of. It's a very kind of genre film. If you want to make a genre film, you kind of make.
Even the shots were kind of
Yeah, but
horror-esque.
you make it a small amount of people. You make it an enclosed space at a certain limited locations, and that house, wherever that house was absolutely stunningly beautiful. The whole idea, and then the kind of twist near the end, I thought was really well done. And then it just did bring to mind, I thought, oh, AI. So I did a wee bit of kind of stuff with AI. I know you're a big reader into theories and
And
weird.
there is a full podcast
Yes.
dedicated to AI. If you like AI, we've done a whole podcast on it. So check the back catalogue.
So, as we're saying to people who've seen the film, what did you think the ending represented?
Represented, or what I took from it
Yeah,
was, in a very short period of time, the AI will outsmart us, and we'll be its bitch.
yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it was she did outsmart him, but that last shot where she's in the, she said she always wanted to go and see people, or he said to her she should go and stand with other people, and she would love to imagine all of that happening. And she goes to this centre of a city and stands with all the people,
Traffic lights.
the traffic lights and all that stuff. And I just felt the look that was conveyed at the very end was that look of disappointment. I don't know if you that came across to you, dude. Like, is this it? This seems banal to me. This seems like
I,
if
I
this was what I dreamt of, then my dreams.
I seen it in 3 seconds. What's next?
Yeah,
Like, why do I
aye,
have to repeat that?
yeah. I've seen this. This is if this is all that humanity is. If this is the height of it,
But that's the
this
thing.
this
A machine would only take that on a surface level as a
yeah.
data input. Whereas, who knows what's happening in a human's mind when they're standing at a traffic light observing the people? You know what I mean? They could be.
So, do you feel that she had evolved beyond the humans at that point?
Oh no! I think no, nowhere near it. I don't think an AI will ever evolve beyond a human for 1,000 years, more
Yeah.
than 1,000 years. It'll become cleverer, like more ability to process data, but will never. For 2,000 years, we have attempted to create artificial intelligence, and for 2,000 years we are no further forward. The only thing we've done in 2,000 years is create more processing power. Like recently, like last week, the first supercomputer with software, which they call an AI, which is not artificial intelligence at all. It's a data set that can crunch loads of numbers with loads of processing power, beat a Go champion. Now, Go has so many more thousand combinations, millions more combinations than chess, and for the first time ever, a computer beat a legitimate Go champion. It beat them 4 games to 1, and it was Google's AI. Obviously, Facebook has an AI as well, a big research team, but it's not an AI in the sense of how we science sci-fi, kind of like a data from Star Trek. You know, it's an AI in the sense of it's a big computer with a fancy bit of software, and it can crunch loads of numbers. It's in no way any different from a mechanical puppet from the fucking 300 fucking AD that was a sort of early computer that had a set thingies of manoeuvres that it could do, you know, and they thought that, oh, soon we'll make it conscious. Well, no, you'll not make it conscious. It's you know, it's all it is a computer with a bit of software. It's not autonomous. It's just a computer that can process data. It might be clever in the sense of it can process large amounts of data, but it's not in any way sentient or thinking for itself.
Yeah. If you think about it, the way the theory of evolution goes is there is great spans of time where nothing really happens, and then one wee thing happens, and then another wee great bit, and it goes faster and faster and faster until you come to like the evolution of humans, so or of our species. And if you go back to the very first, like the time between us now caveman to the time between caveman and the beginning, it's massive. It's the same with computers. If you think of like the first computer was massive and then didn't do much, and then the idea that it's faster and quicker, and the new computer's just brand new and it's just out of date 2 years later, and then that one's out of date a year later, and then it's will there be a combination of human and technology. The more we integrate ourselves with this ever-evolving AI and the way the humans have evolved to this point, there could be a combination of the two which would take forward that AI next step, and we would no longer be human beings, we would be this new species, and then that evolves into something greater, and that becomes this entity that can travel between the stars of great lengths, and then that becomes the aliens, and that's maybe why we can't really interact with aliens, because we're not evolved enough to interact with them, if you know what I mean. That made no sense, I don't think. I might just have been spouting piss there for the last 2 minutes, but you know what I mean? But we may be coming to a critical point where, as you're saying, AI needs to take this next step, and humans need to take this next step, and it is our development of AI and the development of evolution of the human as a species coming together that is the next step. And maybe 55 billion years ago, some other species did that, and they've had a 5 billion start jumping us.
You're just spouting Battlestar Galactica.
I fucking love Battlestar Galactica, dude. I fucking do. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Right, I'm going to read you just the first paragraph.
Yeah.
From it's called NeuroWeb.
NeuroWeb.
The website is globalneuroweb.org, and it's a Russian AI kind of thing, with a combination of loads of different Russian scientists. They state, this is just 1.1 of a huge manifesto. It says, on the doorstep of new life, we are at the dawn of a new era in the evolution of humankind. Experience and knowledge that we might face in the very near future will stun us, and may even be impossible to describe using existing technology. Technologies that are emerging now before our eyes are transforming our everyday environment, interfaces, connecting our bodies and nervous systems directly to the web. Artificial body parts and cyber bodies, artificial intelligences surpassing our own in some ways, new types of collective and blended natural artificial minds supported by automated and neurological solutions present an evolutionary challenge of unprecedented magnitude. We stand at the edge of a new world, the first generation of a coming era. And that's a science. That's like a proper bona fide. Like all the people on it are all PhDs.
Yeah.
And like engineering, physics. They're right at the cutting edge. They're all Russians.
See, they're on their way to Mars as well this week. Good on them. So I read. We're all So I just thought, just because I'd watched that film, I just thought I'd see. I know you did the podcast before, but let's just refresh ourselves on artificial intelligence, how it evolves, and maybe alien.
Episode 16 takes
Yeah,
you from year dot, from mechanical puppets right up to what's happening just now.
there you go, folks.
Episode 16.
Cool. So, good film. Check it out.
Sorry, just like, that podcast and that. Unplugging. Let's move on to the next one. Unplugging from the grid. Now, I'm led to believe that you've recently experienced a little bit of this awesomeness.
I had the very nice pleasure of having a long weekend away to a wee caravan site here in Scotland, down in a wee place called Castle Douglas, which is a lovely part of the country. I took the Facebook off my phone, but when I got down there, it had no signal, refused to pay for the Wi-Fi, and had no phone signal. So apart from the TV, which was rarely on, was unplugged from email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Turned out the world never ended without my input, which I'm slightly disappointed in, but there was a nice freedom to it, not gonna lie. Wasn't even that bothered about it after a wee while. I actually made the conscious decision when we went that I wasn't going to use that stuff. I did all my emails before I left work. Had a couple of work stuff to do concerning a short film. Sent those emails and then just turned off for the Monday afternoon. And went swimming and did long walks and drank some nice beer, ate some nice food, watched some nice telly, mostly kind of comedy DVDs and stuff like that, and just was unaware of how Facebook was and how my social network had
So you still had the
progressed.
telly. You still had the telly.
But we didn't really watch. The telly was on for the wee, and she liked to watch some cartoons, because if you ever have a child, you don't have to engage with them 24 hours a day. The TV does that brilliantly. Just sit in front. It's amazing. Gets them right hooked. It's great. And then, but we took DVDs with
You
us.
just
So we watched.
advertised sitting your way in front of a black box. A bit of
It's how I was raised. It's how I was raised. Didn't do me any harm. But apart from that, we wouldn't spend much time watching the TV. We would be out and about. We had friends down with us, and we'd kind of go across and eat dinner and drink some beers and just play with the kids. And we played some board games and stuff like that. So it was great.
Oh,
But
classic.
again, but being
games.
unplugged was just it's nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a very. But I did know, obviously, when I come back on Monday, I would plug myself back into the matrix with great ease. But I wonder how hard it would be in the great length of things to kind of work out what would be the amount of time you think you could go unplugged.
Oh, I lived in the Somerset Hills and the Quantock Hills in Somerset as
Yep.
a survival instructor for 2 months, and there was no signal on the phone, no internet, no, and you were forced to play table tennis, interact with people, communicate, do stuff. I had an adventure kind of like a climbing rig and stuff like that there, so there was plenty of stuff to do. But I think it's fantastic when you know in the grids you become dead creative, and for me anyway, you get creative. And I was doing a lot of juggling and carving. I was doing a bit of carving, getting kind of creative. But I think unplugging for the grid is definitely a very positive thing, and I would love to unplug completely from the grid. But I like I hardly update my Facebook feed, my personal feed, but I like attempting to spread a little bit of let's stand up to the system via my podcast, and obviously I run a wee business, robwallacemedia.com, making video and doing social media and graphics and photography and stuff for businesses, which basically my angle is helping people punch above their weight online. So it'd be quite hard for me to unplug because I wouldn't make any money.
No.
And unfortunately, we need money. And
But do you need money just to pay for your Wi-Fi? Because if you don't need your Wi-Fi anymore, then you don't need to work.
I need money to pay for
To pay food.
my
Your
mortgage
roof.
and food and
All that good stuff.
the trappings
Yeah.
of the modern day existence. But I think it's definitely in America, Canada, and obviously in the UK as well. There is a lot of movements to build your own eco house from recycled, reclaimed kind of goods, build into it fully self-sustaining energy sources. So either wind or solar or hydro, and running off a battery, growing your own food, etc., and living off the grid. And I definitely think that's the future. The only problem here in the UK with that kind of standard or thought practice is the building land is so expensive. You know, to get an acre of land that you can build on is, 60 grand or so.
Yeah.
Whereas in somewhere like Canada, I'm led to believe that there's some towns in Canada that will give you land just to move to the town. Because their population is declining or for whatever reason.
I remember watching a programme once, and it was about the search for pulsars in space. And there's a town in America, I think it is, and they have this microwave satellite or something like that. And because of the sensitivity of the satellite trying to find these objects in space, the surrounding town has no mobile phones, no internet, and you can't use a microwave. And I don't know if they might have a TV. I would think you'd have TV because it was just a signal. But you couldn't have a mobile phone, you couldn't have internet, you couldn't have a microwave in this wee town. And they'd go around with like a wee van, snooper van, making sure they couldn't get a signal while they were doing these experiments with the radio telescope. I thought, that'd be quite cool. But it's a case of that's how the world has evolved into working now. I can't say I'm going to contact people. How you got to contact them? I'm going to have to write them a letter because I don't have a phone and I'm not online. Whereas the world has evolved to see that decisions are made instantly through email or Facebook connections or Skyping or, you know what I mean? The tools that we have evolved through the computer age are tools that we use to live now. And it's very hard to interact with that world if you're no longer using the things. It's very easy to survive without them. But to live, you know what I mean? You don't want to just be fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi sitting in a wee hut playing with your lightsaber every day. Although that would be fucking awesome. You know what I mean? You don't want to be wee Hermit John.
No, I think...
Because people laugh at wee Hermit John and say, have you seen wee Hermit John? He's out there pissing in plastic bottles. Don't know why. Seems weird.
I think
should have a
it'd
Twitter
be
account.
amazing to, not have any Twitter, Facebook, no web presence, none.
Yeah.
And to make your days full of drawing and playing guitar and playing board games and, interaction with your family, interaction with your neighbours, your friends. And I could quite happily do that. But I could quite happily do that. I think that'd be awesome. In fact, I plan to get there.
I'm just, as we talk, I'm thinking about it. I think I in my mind I have two ongoing kind of artistic projects at the moment that involve a lot of correspondence, and I'm using primarily Facebook for that correspondence because it's easy to message people that way.
Yeah.
and arrange stuff and have a kind of group chat on the Facebook, and people can see ideas and we can post pictures, and it's a very nice system, fluid way of kind of communicating with people. That's, even though we're talking about getting away from it, it can be used for that in a good way. Maybe once the two projects are done, just shut it down.
My sister recently quit Facebook. Just quit.
Yeah.
A crack addict just getting up it. Boom.
Yeah.
It's done. And, I think there's a lot to be said for, like, I like you, I know people all over the world. And Facebook is a great place to interact with people from all over that I've met in my various journeys. And if I shut down Facebook, there's a lot of people that
Sorry, I was rustling there.
I noticed.
I know. Sorry, listeners.
So I like it from that perspective, but the fucking drivel, the negative pish and the complainers, and there's so many of them on Facebook. And then folk that you know all your days that fucking ignore you, or there's and that's the thing. It's getting my blood boiling. I'm like, fucking that. You don't need that. I mean, if I just didn't look at Facebook, I wouldn't be like, well, you know what, that guy's a dick. Why is he always getting on about this? Or why is this person no replied to that? Or, again, what's their opinion on that? They've obviously just watched that fucking 3-second video and now they're fucking... And they're swearing and...
I think another thing with Facebook is the way, and probably all social media, the way now that it's used and interacted with, it's recording what you're looking at, it's recording who you're talking to, it's recording the links you're clicking on or the adverts you click on. So it then tailors your social media experience to your likes. So you, like, for me, you think about it now, like, so we do this podcast and we look at a lot of kind of conspiracy stuff or activist stuff. So my Facebook feed becomes a lot of that. We sponsored things that come up are aimed towards those sort of things. So you become almost blinkered to thinking that's how the whole world, and you have to kind of break out of those mold. But if you're not realising that's how it's happening, it's just, and that's what they want you to do. That's no fault of any user of social media. That's how the corporations want to put adverts towards you and steer you in this direction just so they can make money. Let's be honest, that's why they do it. You have a very blinkered idea of how the world works. And that could, going back to something like the Trump campaign, if you've went down that rabbit hole and that's all you're clicking on and that's all you're seeing and that's all the social media is giving you back, then you're going to think that's how the world's going to be better and that's how the world works and that's how everybody gears stuff towards things, and you think, and then when you see something different you're like, that's not right. You know what I mean? So it might be doing more damage than good if you're unable to kind of separate it. And I think the majority of people always have those days where they're like, oh, fuck this shit, and you log off, you don't come back to it, and then you're back the next day. Although I've never had the big rant, I'm fucking leaving Facebook, I'm never coming back, you dicks.
Well, if you look at the MMA show, at one point I ran MMA show, Scotland's MMA broadcast, and again, 3,500 likes, really high engagement, over 50% engagement every time, every post, all over Scotland taking pictures, staying YouTube, all that good stuff. You know what it's all about, and just shutting that down because it took too much of my time. There's too many fucking knobs, too much effort. It took a lot of effort, to fulfill the page, to travel,
Yeah.
to organise, etc., etc. And I shut that down, and what a sense of fucking relief. It was like a massive weight just went off my shoulders. And obviously, I was like, I need to do something. Like, I want to put my energy into something, and that's why I created the podcast. Which, for me, I'm now posting about things that are interesting, that I'm interested in, as opposed to just the latest fight results and that kind of stuff. But it was such a relief, such a weight off your mind. And I think if you shut down, like, because I had the Master Wang Facebook account attached to that, which had about 1,000 friends, but it was all folk in the fight business and the combat sports, folk related to it, so that I could, and I shut that Facebook account down, and it felt great as well. But it's the personal one for me. I keep it mainly because of the people that I've met for all over the world. That it's the only folk in Canada, New Zealand, Australia, America, Peru, Bolivia, Sweden, wherever. You know, that I'm not disciplined enough to email people. But again, on occasion you come across something you think, oh, so and so would be. You write them a message or put something on their Facebook line. But no.
I think it's also the way that technology has advanced in the past 50 years. The idea of taking a week out of Facebook or unplugging completely for a month from any sort of kind of interaction with that technology is hard to do, because if you go back 200 years, we're still the exact same human species. I'm assuming there's not been any major leap in evolution, I wouldn't have thought. They would like go, I'm going to go and go to Africa for 5 months. You know what I mean? Like a year of somebody's just, when I think about it, like the thought, I'm a big fan. I'm not a big fan. I'm very, very interested in the Crusades. It doesn't take you 20 minutes to walk to fucking Jerusalem. These people took years out of their lives to go away to these countries. And you see it in all the old films where the man comes back 5 years later from, he was a Roman centurion and he was in Germania fighting, you know what I mean? And he comes back 10 years later and his wife doesn't recognise him. But he's got 2 kids and they're all grown up and life has went on, and but he's still like, people when they, I'm rambling, dude. I do apologise. But you could unplug. I'm just saying. But have we evolved too much to the use of technology that we can't unplug? We need to be hard-lined. Like, I take a month, a year out of Facebook. Seems like a long time, but is a year a long time? I don't know.
Well, that's it. It's almost like the all net, you know. At the minute, we're a physical command, be it a type in a keyboard, a gesture, or a voice command, away from getting a possible answer. It's usually in a list form. But in some cases, when you ask a direct question, what's the weather in Glasgow, you get a very specific answer. But within the next 5 years, it's going to be from a voice question to a thought, and the answer will be there. And when that happens, we will turn into a post-technological society where we no longer really know how things work. It's a part of us. And that's when all the great sci-fi authors and stuff can put it down to that'll be the crash. Because when that system crashes, we'll no know how to fucking read. We'll no know how to fucking wipe our ass. Again, we'll back to the year dot, and we'll have to create civilization again.
Might not be a bad thing, dude.
Right, so let's move on to...
So, but unplugging for a week's nice.
Aye, definitely. But that's the thing, recharge yourself.
Yeah,
Unplug.
unplug and recharge yourself.
That's quite funny,
I'm
because
I'm gonna get a t-shirt.
to recharge you need to plug in, obviously,
Yep.
in the
No,
electrical
no,
sense.
we got the joke, Rob. We got the joke. Calm down. Cool, man.
Everything you know is wrong.
Well, this was the thing I was looking at. Because we're a podcast that questions everything, there was a. I'll send you the link. The Neurological blog, your daily fix of neuroscience, skepticism, and critical thinking. Had a small post saying everything you know is wrong, or everything you think you know is wrong, and it was really talking about how the human brain at the moment takes information and brings it down to its simplest form, and chops it up so that we can process it easier, and this idea that if you think you know something, you don't know something. It's a case that you have to look. What we're always saying in the podcast is you have to look further into it. So, get a couple of examples from the piece where, Rob, can you role play for a moment for me, sir? If that's possible, can you be the normal man on the street?
Yes.
So, hello, normal man on the street.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. So, if I was to ask you, normal man on the street, does the Earth revolve around the Sun?
Of course it does.
And we have talked about this in the podcast before, I think, when we talked about flat Earth and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, technically, that is the correct answer. But it is, well, no, it is the right answer. But technically, it's the wrong answer. Because the correct answer is, or the right answer would be that it would be wrong that the Earth revolves in the Sun, because the Earth and the Sun both revolve about their mutual centre of gravity. That centre of gravity point, however, lies beneath the surface of the Sun, and so it's reasonable to say that the Earth revolves around the Sun while the Sun wobbles on its axis as a result of the gravitational pull between the two bodies. But when you bring that down, you think, oh well, the Earth revolves around the Sun, which isn't true. What killed all the dinosaurs, Rob?
What killed the
What killed all the dinosaurs, Mr. Man on the Street?
Well, the popular answer was some sort of big piece of space rock came down and again sent a big shockwave through Earth, and shit got real and things died.
Yeah. I wish I'd asked somebody else in the street, because I knew just by looking at you'd be happy. But the idea that a massive asteroid hit the Earth, because we've all seen the beginning of the film Armageddon, killed out all the dinosaurs, and then from that, small mammals were able to survive and live. But that's not true, because not all dinosaurs were killed off, because many theorise that modern day birds evolved from dinosaurs. Therefore, an asteroid didn't kill all the dinosaurs. It just killed out the non-avian species that were not feathered. So again, it's to think that the entire world has simplified itself and you to this kind of almost meme state of consciousness where things are very, very complicated, but we bring them down to an idea that this is how it should be represented. And it's just a case of maybe appreciating that most situations and questions and answers are a bit more deeper than what we first feel they are. If that makes any sense, you did.
Oh, of course
So,
it does.
so the idea of this podcast would be to be a wee bit more skeptical and not investigate stuff yourself a wee bit more. I just thought it's a nice wee piece on the website there that I found while I was scouting about.
Well, definitely. Obviously, the tagline of the podcast is "Podcast that questions everything," and we would always encourage people to question everything. You know, curiosity is the key thing, and there's so many things in our society that come from our culture, our social conditioning, our social engineering, our parents, whatever it is, be it, you know, you grew up in a Christian household, be it you grew up on a farm and you believe that this is eating meat is the only way forward, you know. Well, go and talk to a vegan and get a different perspective. Go and talk to a Muslim and get a different perspective. At some point, the conformed ideas and thinking of science will change. You know, at some point, science believed this, and then something else came along with a better theory and a better idea, and it changed. And sometimes it's a monumental shift. Sometimes it's an incremental shift.
So it's a kind of case of seeing the world, and the majority of stuff within it that we're told can be seen as a passive knowledge, if you know what I mean. It's kind of filters down through public consciousness, becomes this idea, this paragraph, i.e. the earth revolves around the sun, whereas the actual answer is a bit more complicated than that. It's a case of looking at the world as we see it and trying to look at the passive, that there is a passive knowledge or a statement of passive knowledge, and then looking beyond that and from ourselves become a wee bit more appreciative about how to take in knowledge and how to investigate statements so that you can open your mind a wee bit more. That's what I'd love you to do out there, podcast people. Open that mind. Send us money to this PayPal address.
The mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open.
Cool, man.
Hi, so definitely, you know, get out there, get thinking, and question everything. And science is a good way to question things. A skeptic is just somebody who questions the ideas of what's being represented. You know, I would say I'm a skeptic, and it's a skeptical about most things. You know, I never take anything for granted. And then the other side of that is kind of cultural taboos and cultural norms. Like, for instance, in the Egyptian times, it was acceptable to fuck your sister. Nowadays, it's completely frowned on. But it's a taboo now, you know. Incest is a taboo, yet in times have passed, it was, you know, a sign of royalty. It just shows you how different cultures, different religions, different time frames, etc., change the way that thought is accepted, you know. And like that's why or how I came about, like something like the Church of Satan, or it's like, well, what's a taboo? What's unacceptable? Let's have a read of that. What are they actually about? You know, question everything. Never limit yourself to. Always be curious and creative. Creativity is always the way forward. And if you like art, energeticmind.com. Well, cool, just call it a day there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Greg, for being on the podcast.
No problem.
Excellent. Dude. As always, the bearded master of sci-fi. You can follow Greg at...
not to endorse any sort of social media, but you can follow me on Twitter at B for the CP, BFEETHCP. There's an E in there somewhere.
And do you have a wee short film project? And how can people follow that?
Yeah,
Facebook?
so on the Facebook there's postcards from the apocalypse short film. You can follow that there and see how it's about to start revving back up after some technical difficulties at the end of last year. There's some video and cast bios and some art up there. And I'll just about to start going back into that. Check that out as well, please.
Excellent, and obviously all the endorsements and the sponsors are at the end. So thanks very much for your time, folks. Tune in, and remember, we have over 20 podcasts now. Go back over the catalogue. They're all listed, and some great topics, some great conversations between myself and Greg, and myself and other people, or just myself. This is the Everything's an Illusion podcast. Please subscribe on YouTube or iTunes, Stitcher Radio, whatever. Like us on Facebook, comment, share, talk, engage, etc. And if there's any guests that you wish me to grab, or if there's any topics that you want us to cover, please let us know by contacting us via the various social media mediums. Thank you and good night.
Everything is an Illusion is brought to you by RobWallaceMedia.com, award-winning media. TheEnergeticMind.com, inspirational, motivational and thought-provoking art. And Health Made Simple. Buy today, change your life forever. healthmadesimple.info. Thank you, and remember, question everything.